The administration might suspend due process for undocumented immigrants.
Yes, you heard that right. Due process, that crucial thing that stops governments from doing whatever they want to, whoever they want. Miller's rationale? He cited a constitutional loophole that allows suspension of habeas corpus during an invasion. Miller's comments have stirred quite a pot. On one hand, some folks are nodding along, muttering about national security in dark corners of the internet. On the other hand, legal experts are frantically waving their Constitution for Dummies books, pointing out that this isn't Westeros. The internet, meanwhile, has exploded with memes, GIFs, and enough sarcasm to fill a small library. The broader question here is, can the government really suspend due process just like that? Historical instances do exist, albeit rare, and typically in times of extreme crisis. The suspension of habeas corpus has happened only 4 times in U.S. history. Miller's suggestion raises eyebrows not just because of its audacity, but because of its potential to redefine what we perceive as an invasion. Stephen Miller is not a name you can easily forget, especially if you've been following U.S. politics over the past decade. As Trump's senior advisor and the architect of some of the administration's most controversial immigration policies, he became a household name. Known for his hardline stance, Miller championed measures that many considered extreme, like the infamous travel ban and family separations at the border. Critics often describe him as the man who could make Voldemort look like a humanitarian. Miller's latest proposal is in character, albeit more outrageous. His statement about suspending due process has given many a sense of déjà vu. Remember when he defended the travel ban by saying, "The powers of the president to protect our country are very substantial and will not be questioned"? Well, this is a sequel, and like most sequels, it's even more over the top. Despite his polarizing persona, Miller remains a significant figure in shaping immigration discourse. His arguments often hinge on a strict interpretation of law and order, but this time, he may have crossed a line. Legal pundits are not amused, and neither are human rights organizations. As the public grapples with Miller's comments, one thing is clear: he has a knack for stirring the political cauldron. Due process, that humble constitutional cornerstone, is what ensures that the government respects all legal rights owed to a person. The Fifth Amendment says no one shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. This applies to citizens and non-citizens alike, much to Miller's apparent surprise. It means that before the government can take any significant action against you, like deporting you, they have to follow fair procedures. Miller's interpretation that due process applies only to criminal defendants misses the mark. The Supreme Court has stated repeatedly that due process protections extend to undocumented immigrants during removal proceedings. It's almost as if the Constitution was written to prevent the kind of chaos Miller proposes. In practical terms, due process means hearings, evidence, and a chance for the accused to present their side. It's the reason we don't just toss people into a dungeon without asking a few polite questions first. Removing it would be like playing Monopoly without the rules. Everyone would end up flipping the board. The importance of due process cannot be overstated, especially in a country that prides itself on democracy and justice. Without it, we risk sliding into autocracy, where decisions are made not by laws, but by whims. Due process is like the referee in the game of justice, ensuring fair play for all participants. For undocumented immigrants, due process is often the only shield against arbitrary detention and deportation. It's their chance to be heard, to present evidence, and to argue their case. The suspension of due process is not just a legal issue, it's a moral one. It challenges us to consider what kind of society we want to be. Are we a nation that values law and fairness, or are we willing to sacrifice these principles for the sake of expediency? Moreover, the international implications are significant. America has long been a beacon of hope for those seeking justice and freedom. Suspending due process would send a message that contradicts everything the nation stands for.
The American Civil Liberties Union, or ACLU, wasted no time in condemning the proposal. They argue that due process is a fundamental right that cannot be waved away with a flick of a pen. One legal expert quipped, "What's next? Suspending gravity because it's inconvenient." While said in jest, it underscores the absurdity of the suggestion. Even conservative legal scholars, who typically align with stricter immigration policies, have balked at Miller's idea. They point out that the Constitution is not a buffet, where you pick and choose which rights to uphold. The Supreme Court's recent reaffirmation of non-citizens' right to due process during removal proceedings further complicates Miller's argument. The legal community has reacted to Miller's proposal with a mixture of disbelief and indignation. Lawyers, judges, and law professors have taken to their platforms, armed with legal jargon and an impressive array of eye rolls. The consensus is clear. Suspending due process is not only unconstitutional, but a dangerous precedent.
Social media, never one to miss out on a good scandal, has erupted in response to Miller's comments. Hashtags like #DueProcessMatters and #MillerMadness are trending, with users expressing everything from outrage to outright mockery. Memes too have had a field day. One popular meme shows Miller trying to suspend gravity, surrounded by floating objects and bewildered citizens asking, "What's next?" Another shows him dressed as a medieval king decreeing laws with a scepter, while a court jester whispers, "You can't do that." Public opinion is polarized, as expected. Some argue that drastic times call for drastic measures, while others insist that the Constitution is not a suggestion box. Town halls and community forums have seen heated debates, with concerned citizens demanding to know how far the government will go in the name of security. Ultimately, the reaction has been a powerful reminder of the role social media plays in shaping modern discourse. While Miller might have hoped to quietly propose his idea, the internet had other plans. The question of suspending due process is not just a legal conundrum, it's a philosophical debate about the values we hold dear. Is it ever justified to strip individuals of their fundamental rights for the greater good? Or is it a slippery slope that leads to tyranny and injustice?
For many, the idea of suspending due process conjures images of authoritarian regimes where rights are a privilege, not a guarantee. Yet, Miller's suggestion forces us to confront the balance between security and freedom. The legal precedent is clear. Due process is a cornerstone of the American legal system, one that should not be dismantled on a whim. Suspending it would open Pandora's box, setting a precedent that could be exploited in the future. As the debate rages on, one thing is certain. The decision to suspend due process should not be taken lightly. It's a choice that reflects not only the laws of the land but the values of the society that upholds them. In the words of a wise legal philosopher, with great power comes great responsibility.